the spring of 2020, Mark Delaney, a retired nature photographer, moved into a quiet, isolated cabin tucked deep within the dense woods near Michigan's Sleeping Bear Dunes. After decades spent capturing wildlife around the world, he dreamed of a peaceful retirement, surrounded only by trees and silence. But just a few nights after settling in, Mark's peace was shattered. When he reviewed footage from the security camera outside his cabin, what he saw was impossible. A tall, slender figure standing perfectly still at the edge of the woods, facing his cabin. It had no visible face, just smooth, featureless skin, and it appeared again the next night and the next, each time moving closer to his bedroom window. By the end of the first week, it was standing just feet away, silently watching Mark sleep. This video contains scenes that some viewers may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Mark Delaney was 58 years old when he bought the cabin. A respected photographer, known for his patience and quiet nature, Mark's career had taken him across remote corners of the globe. After his wife passed away suddenly, Mark found cities suffocating and crowded places overwhelming. He craved silence, absolute solitude. He spent weeks meticulously planning his move, carefully packing cherished belongings, photography equipment, and boxes of books he had collected over the years. When the day finally arrived, he loaded everything into his pickup truck and began the long, solitary drive toward his new home. As he pulled onto the narrow, winding road that led through the dense forest to his cabin, Mark felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The lush greenery surrounding him promised the isolation and tranquility he desperately sought. Arriving late in the afternoon, he unpacked his belongings methodically, organizing each room carefully, arranging framed photographs and personal mementos thoughtfully around his new space. The cabin itself was modest but charming, built from sturdy, aged logs that gave it a rustic appearance. It had a cozy front porch with a small wooden bench and lanterns hanging beside the front door. Inside, the cabin featured wooden floors, exposed beams, and large windows that offered beautiful views of the surrounding forest. The living area included a stone fireplace, and the furniture was simple yet comfortable, perfectly matching the cabin's serene, rustic aesthetic. For the first few days, Mark felt relief. The quiet was therapeutic. He set up security cameras around the property out of habit. He'd captured wildlife footage for decades. This was no different, or so he thought. On the third morning, everything changed. Mark checked his camera feeds from the previous night. At 2:14 a.m., motion was detected on his back porch. At first, Mark saw nothing unusual, but when he slowed the footage down, frame by frame, his heart froze. Just beyond the porch lights stood a figure. It was tall, at least 7 feet, with limbs oddly thin and elongated. But worst of all, its face was completely blank. No eyes, no mouth, just pale, featureless skin. Mark tried to convince himself it was an illusion, a trick of shadows, but deep down, he knew better. Over the next few nights, Mark documented the figure's nightly appearances, each time it emerged from the woods closer to his cabin. Night 4, it appeared halfway across the yard, motionless for 3 hours, facing directly toward his bedroom window. Night 5, Mark installed brighter floodlights. It didn't matter, the figure returned, stepping just outside the circle of light. Night 6, it stood directly outside his bedroom window, so close its featureless face nearly touched the glass. Mark called the police. When officers reviewed the footage, their faces went pale. They searched the property but found no footprints, no disturbance, nothing. That night, Mark felt watched. Even inside the cabin, every shadow felt like eyes. Every creak seemed deliberate. He locked every door, shuttered every window, but sleep was impossible. Driven by exhaustion and fear, Mark decided he needed proof that someone was tormenting him. On the 7th night, he stayed awake in the dark, watching his camera feeds live. At exactly 1:45 a.m., the camera triggered. There it was again, standing inches from his window. Heart pounding, Mark gathered his courage, grabbed a flashlight, and stormed outside to confront whoever or whatever was there. But when he stepped outside, nothing. No footprints, no disturbed leaves, just eerie silence. Mark circled the cabin, the flashlight beam shaking in his hands. The woods felt impossibly still, no insects, no wind. Then he turned back toward the house, and his blood ran cold. The figure was now inside, watching him from behind the glass. Panicked, Mark rushed back inside, ready to fight, but the cabin was empty. No intruder, just shadows. But Mark knew what he'd seen, and worse, he knew the figure had let him see it. He questioned himself endlessly. Had it truly been inside? Or had exhaustion and fear created a vivid hallucination? Could his mind have played such a cruel trick? The nightly visits continued. Mark stopped sleeping, stopped eating. His health rapidly deteriorated. Friends noticed during phone calls that his voice was shaking, his sentences disjointed. Mark became obsessed with reviewing the footage, desperate to understand what he was dealing with. He eventually sent recordings to paranormal investigators. Their responses terrified him. "What you've captured isn't human, and it's not friendly. You should leave immediately." Within days, Mark abandoned the cabin. The bank repossessed it after he refused to return. He left behind furniture, belongings, even his cameras. The cabin remained empty for months. Eventually, curious explorers and urban legend enthusiasts made pilgrimages to the property, daring each other to spend a night there. Those who did spoke of feeling deeply unsettled. They reported glimpses of something in the woods and sudden, unexplained nausea. Eventually, the cabin was boarded up, condemned, and taken off the market. Officially, the reason was safety concerns, but locals whisper the real reason is something darker, something lingering at the edge of the trees, watching. To this day, nobody truly knows what Mark Delaney saw. Was it something paranormal, an unknown creature, or merely a product of his grief-stricken imagination? The answers remain locked within the quiet, shadowed trees near Sleeping Bear Dunes, waiting patiently for someone else to discover them. If you found this story chilling, let me know your theories in the comments. Was it a spirit, a cryptid, or something even stranger? And if you've ever experienced something like this yourself, I want to hear about it. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more true terrifying stories, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.